In this video, we're going to get into the bulk of setting up your price list. Your price list in Sprout is really what drives your entire revenue engine in your business. You want to make sure that you set yourself up properly, both in how Sprout understands and interprets and uses your price list, but also you want to make sure that you're set up with the right structure and the right profitability engine so that you can actually make a living doing this thing that you love to do. So hold on to your seats and let's get ready to configure your price list. I have my price list section set up here in Sprout, and it's important to note that you can actually set up as many price lists as you'd like in Sprout depending on your plan. By default, there's a price list here called default price list, and there's a few sort of standard configurations added in here. There's prints, there's products, there's services, there's no packages, but we do have a few things set up here by default. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. I'm going to delete that price list, and I'm going to go ahead and make a brand new one. So let's go ahead and make a new price list. And we're going to call this my price list. So let's start from scratch here and assume nothing. So here at the top, let's run into each of the sections. Again, we have prints. Those are meant to help you organize things like your fine art prints or your photo prints or your framed prints or your matted prints or your canvas gallery prints. Anything that is a printed product that you'd have various sizes of, for example, 8 by 10, 11 by 14, 12 by 18, 16 by 20, so on and so forth. That you'll organize here in prints, and we'll run through that in just a moment. The next section is products. Products are great to help you organize things like physical products other than prints that you sell to your clients. For example, an engagement book or a wedding album or thank you cards or anything like that. Next would be services. So anything that you offer to your clients that is not a physical product, such as coverage for the wedding or an engagement session or travel or retouching fees. Anything that's a service, anything that's your time would be added here into services. Next is digitals. That's where you can turn on and off single images or the entire gallery. And then last is packages, and that's where you can basically package up all of the above items to create packages for your clients. So let's run through the very top and work our way down. We're going to start by adding a new print. We're going to just call this a self-fulfilled print. And I'm going to skip over these because these actually will shortcut you to getting these things done. And I'll show you that in just a moment. But we're going to start from scratch here and say add custom print. And we're just going to call this one photo print. Now let's just kind of work our way down the sidebar on the left-hand side, and then we'll see how this all gets set up. The first thing is settings. So first we can say, do we want this to be taxed? Either no or yes. The next one is booking auto credit. Basically what that means is that if your client were to purchase one of these things in a booking proposal or in a booking page, do you automatically want Sprout to create a credit for them so that they can let you know what images they'd like for that particular item? My favorite way to use this is to keep this off for things like prints, but keep it on for things like products. The reason that we want to do that is because for prints, I want to have my clients purchase those in a gallery. For products, however, if they've gone ahead and purchased a wedding album in a booking proposal, I would want them to let me know which images they want in that wedding album before I go ahead and design that for them. So I like to have it on for products, but off for prints. But we'll leave it off in here for now. Next section here is what are the sizes of the prints that you want to offer. So we're going to go ahead and just start adding some sizes. I'm going to start with 4 by 6. I'm going to start with 5 by 7. We're going to do 8 by 10. And we're going to go 10 by 10. So we have 4 sizes. I'm going to add one more. That's actually 2.85 by 2.85, otherwise known as a wallet print. And I'm actually going to click this here. And instead of it displaying as the size, which is 2.85 by 2.85, I'm going to click custom, and I'm going to go ahead and click wallet print. Now the last thing that I want to do is I actually want to bring wallet print all the way up to the top, and I'm going to click reorder, and I'm just going to drag wallet print all the way up and then click set order. And there we are. Now I have my sizes in here. Now, the last thing that we can do here, this is the simplest setup. If you want to just set this up, my recommendation next would be to set the cost on each of these things from your lab. So whether you're printing it yourself or you're going to a lab, go ahead and set up the cost of these. And I've just set up some real quick sample configurations in here for that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the pricing assistant. We've actually built in a full pricing calculator for you. One of the things that I believe in very, very strongly is in pricing yourself profitably in your photography business. In fact, 12 years ago, I wrote a book called Pricing for Profit. And it's been a book that's driven a lot of the education that I've given to hundreds of thousands of photographers since then. And in fact, this book itself and the methods in this book is used in colleges to teach photography students how to price themselves properly. And the methods in this book have been taught and read and listened to and absorbed by photographers like you, hundreds of thousands of them around the world. And it's a really simple cost of doing business model, cost of goods sold model of how to price yourself as a photographer. And it's always been my dream to have that built into Sprout Studio. And it is now built into Sprout Studio, so you can really easily and really simply set yourself up to price yourself properly, including your time. So let's hop into this and see how it works. I'm going to click Pricing Assistant, and there's a few things that you can take a look at. First of all, you can select which print sizes you'd like to have the Pricing Assistant work on. So you can just click select all or select none and just choose certain sizes if you'd like. The next thing that we want to do is we want to set up your inputs. So I'm going to go ahead and just click that. And there's 3 variables to factor in here. This is all from the Pricing for Profit book. 3 variables that dictate and determine how you price yourself as a photographer. The first thing that we're going to open up here is your hourly rate. Now, if you don't know your actual salary-based hourly rate, then what we're going to do is we're just going to put in couple numbers here. We're going to say, what do you want your annual salary to be? And how many hours do you work per week? So let's just use, for this instance, an example of $80,000 working 40 hours a week. We're going to click calculate, and that means that your hourly rate is $38.46. Next is going to be your markup. Now I'm going to leave this at 2.85, which is the recommendation. However, if you know differently or better based on your own business model, you're welcome to either put in your markup or put in your markup percentage here and we'll calculate it for you. Lastly, you're going to specify how much time you spend per print to get that print out the door and in the hands of your client. So right here, you can just say maybe that's 12 minutes. And as you can see, it kind of updates all those numbers there. Now, however, if for some of your prints, you need to spend more time, like for example, maybe an 8x10 takes you more time. Maybe we'll put 18 minutes. And a 10x10 also takes you more time. So you can always override those, and you can also override the markup per print. So if you want some of your sizes to be valued higher than the other sizes, for example, maybe I want those to be valued higher, then you can go ahead and change that, and it will value those higher in the calculations. So you've got those 3 variables set up. We're going to go ahead and click back. And the last thing we're going to do here is choose the pricing strategy. So what pricing strategy do you want to use? Do you want it to be just calculated? So for example, it would come out to, in this example, $37.72. Do you want it to be the nearest 5, so it rounds to the nearest whole 5, the nearest 10, so it rounds to the nearest whole 10, the nearest 9, so it rounds to the nearest 9, or with the 99-cent strategy, where it rounds to the nearest 9 but adds .99 to it. My preference is nearest 5. I love that, especially for smaller prints. So I'm going to use nearest 5, and I'm going to click calculate pricing. And now, as you can see here, it went ahead and automatically calculated those prices for me based on my cost. Now, by the way, I put these costs in just as arbitrary numbers. These aren't exact. These aren't going to be specific, but it gives you a quick indication of how easy and quick this is to set up. So now I have all of my prices here set up for my photo print. Now, the other thing that you can set up here is options for this print, which makes it a little bit more complicated, but it lets you get a little bit more granular. Let's say, for example, you have two different kinds of paper for your photo prints. You have standard luster paper and you have a metallic paper. So I can go ahead and click add option. I'm going to call this paper type, and I'm going to add two choices, one called luster and one called metallic. And I'm going to go ahead and just close those. And now, as you can see, for each of these sizes, it opens up a luster and a metallic for that size. Now, by default, they're not added. So you have to click the little plus and then the plus for all of your sizes. For whatever sizes you want to offer, rather. Just like that. Now, maybe you don't want to offer those choices of paper for your smaller prints. So I'm going to turn it off for wallet prints. I'm going to turn it off for 4x6. And I'm going to exclude it there also for 5x7s. But for 8x10s and 10x10s, I'm going to offer the choice of paper type. So now we have that all set up. And again, you could always hop into Pricing Assistant, adjust your costs, and adjust those accordingly. But that is how you set up photo prints there in your price list. I'm going to click onto that. And the last tab that we're going to click through here is the Styling and Design tab. That's where you can customize how this shows up in your brand, in your price list, and in your galleries. So we're going to go ahead and click that and start to configure it. By default, we have a preview of what your client's images in their gallery will look like. And you can preview it with a couple different kinds of photography if you'd like to. This will never show up for your clients. This is only for you to preview where your images will go. It's kind of like a placeholder. And we have credit to the photographer that we've collaborated with to get these images. So by default, we have that showing up here on the left-hand side as a simple display. And then we have the options over here on the right. And as your client chooses the options here and chooses one of those, they'll be able to see the price. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open this up and we're going to put a summary in here. So this is an example of a summary. And then we're going to say this is an example of a description, just so that you can see where and how this shows up. Next is display here. Now again, this we have set up as a simple display. And you can see that right now it's showing with a really simple icon. You can choose the color that shows up there. And you can choose the backdrop over here on the left-hand side. So whatever you want to show there, you can customize how this shows up to your clients. You can also click X and choose any icon that you'd like. Search any of these, or you can just search for anything that you'd like and something will probably show up. Lots of great options there for you to customize. I'm not sure why you'd want a baby icon, but it's there anyways for you to choose from. The other option is for you to upload your own photo for how this shows up. And if you upload the photo, you will see a photo that shows up over here to sell and show off that particular print. It will not show up over here on the left-hand side. This always is reserved for prints for the image that your client is purchasing. So when you upload an image, it does not show up here. It will show up over here to promote that product. I'm going to skip over Visualizer just for a moment because the other option here is Unsplash. This is where you can grab any Unsplash ID and put it in here, and it will show up over here on the right-hand side for you to promote this product. Let's go into Visualizer though. This is a really powerful tool that we've built to help you show off the image that your client is choosing here on the left-hand side. So we have a few different options for visualizers. We have the flat desk print, the matted print, the framed and matted print, and the canvas gallery wrap. Those are different ways that you can show off the image on the left-hand side. So for this, we're going to keep this as a flat desk print. The next option is for you to choose the backdrop. So what is the image here in the background as to how you want to show it off. And we have quite a few different options depending on how you want to show this off. Let's kind of leave it at that. I love that marble look. The next option is to add a shadow, and this is just to embellish the way that this looks. This is again called Visualizer and helps your clients visualize what this looks like. I'm going to go ahead and choose the orchid leaves because I love how that looks up there, but we have a whole bunch of different shadows here that you can choose from just to make this look really, really beautiful on the front end for your clients. Last option here is border thickness, and I'm going to go ahead and maybe just choose this medium one. Now you can map it to one of your pricing options, but it doesn't make sense in this case, so I'm going to leave that one alone. We have that. And then the last thing is for you to add reviews here to show up at the very bottom for your clients. So there's a lot of ways that you can use Sprout to show off your work and to really help your clients understand what your offerings are in a really beautiful way. That kind of helps showcase what some of them are. I'm going to go ahead and click done. And we're back over here to prints. Now, one of the things that I promised you was that we would set up one of these manually. However, I'm going to show you how you can get a whole bunch of the work that we've done for you automatically added into your account. So I'm going to click this, and I'm actually going to delete this because we have built, and you may have seen this already, we have built a whole bunch of these options already for you based on best practices, based on industry standard, based on typical average costs, and we've even put in beautiful sales language for you for these items, and we've priced them profitably for you. So let's go ahead and just add a whole bunch of these right out of the gate. There we go. Now I'm just going to quickly remove the one out of these that gets copied over. And there we go. Now I'm just going to reorder these. I want the framed one to be at the top. We're going to set order. And now let's take a look at how this looks here. If I go into styling and design, look at this all beautifully set up with these beautiful frame visualizer types like we talked about. We have different matting options here and all of the description here. Photographic print mounted and presented in a wood frame molding. And description is framed prints can be customized to suit your home decor style. These simple, elegant, and ready-to-hang heirloom wall art pieces allow you to enjoy your images on the walls of your home for years to come. So you can see here, we've done a lot of work in describing these and writing these and setting these up. If I go back over here into the pricing, they're all set up already for you with a really profitable margin here. Again, of course, you can customize and tweak these as you'd like, but they're all set up already for you. If I go into options here, I'm actually going to rearrange these options so that I have the slim one first, wide second, and none last. And the reason I want to do that is because I want slim to be chosen here first by default. So that's how my clients see it out of the gate. So let's leave prints there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to save my progress. I'm going to click save down over here. I'm not going to save and close, but I'm just going to click save just so that I have that all set up and I can keep going. Next option is products. We're going to click new product here and let's just add a wedding album here. Perfect. Now this is where I was saying earlier for auto credit, I do want the auto credit turned on. I'm going to keep tax also turned on. Now for auto credit, again, what that means is that if a client were to purchase a wedding album in a booking page or in a booking proposal, Sprout will automatically create a credit for them so that when that client logs into their gallery, they can choose the images that they want in that particular item so that you know what to use for designing it. What we're going to do here now then is say, great, how many photos do you want the client to choose when they choose that? So I'm going to choose range of photos, and I'm going to say that I'd like my clients to choose anywhere between 20 and 40 images. And there we go. And so that is the wedding album. Again, you can set cost, and then you can set the price here. And you can also specify add-ons. So I'm going to have an add-on called additional pages. And the cost of that is $200 each. Or the price of that, sorry. There we go. And that is how you add products. Let's move down here into services. And we're going to add this as our hourly wedding coverage. And we're going to say that that is $350. Let's move on down into digitals here. I'm going to click into this and I'm going to give my digital file a name. Now, this is recommended. It doesn't have to be necessarily the word digital file. You can call it whatever you'd like. I'm going to call mine archival digital file. Always have this be the singular version of the name, and that way when they purchase a single one, it says single archival digital file, or if they purchase an entire one, it says an entire gallery of archival digital files, and it'll add plural to it. I'm going to say whether or not I want this taxable. I do. Auto credit, I do not want. And shippable, basically meaning, will this contribute or factor in shipping? I'm going to say no, because I don't need to ship anything for digital files. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this one on so that clients can purchase individual files. And I'm also going to turn the entire set on so that clients can purchase that for $12.50. And there we go. Going to go ahead and just click save again, just to save my progress. And the last thing I'm going to do now is go down into packages, and we're going to add a sample package. So I'm just going to call this collection number 1, and we're just going to start adding some items. I'm going to first add the hourly wedding coverage, make that 6 hours. And I'm going to give my client the entire gallery of archival digital files. And there we go. And instead of it being $33.50, I'm actually going to discount that to $2,900. And there we go. So now Sprout will tell you, here's what the original value was, here's what the discount is now, and there's your new price. Now for here, you can also specify a description. You can upload an image or choose an Unsplash image for here so that it's presented nicely in a booking proposal for your clients. I'm going to go ahead and click save there, and then I'm going to click save and close to close out my price list. And so that's how you set up your price list. At least that's how you start to set up your price list. My recommendation is from here to go on in there and to set up everything in your price list the way that you want it set up so that you're ready for success and for profitability with your clients at Sprout Studio.